Hey there, it's Steve from Serious Keto, and this is the Not So Serious Keto video podcast. I want to start out this podcast with a little public service announcement. It's not a promo, but if at any point you start feeling like it feels like a promo, I do have chapter stops on this video, so you can just move on to the next one. I get a lot of questions about the Levels Health app and their CGM program. So if you've never watched any of my blood glucose testing reviews, this is the software that I use. It basically, Levels Health, interprets the data from the Dexcom app and gives further insights. It's a great metabolic health app. The problem is, it is pretty expensive, like $200 a month expensive. But that gets you a prescription, it gets you the Dexcom G7 continuous glucose monitor, and it gets you the software. But it just got a lot cheaper because now they offer the Stelo over-the-counter continuous glucose monitor from Dexcom. And the price now, per month, is $99, which is the same as if you were just buying 2 Stelos, each last 15 days, so a month worth of Stelos is $99. So no prescription, a lot cheaper, pretty cool stuff. One important disclaimer on this is the Levels Health program, coupled with the CGMs, is not designed to diagnose or cure any sort of medical issues. It is not a medical product, but rather a general wellness product. That said, they sent me some really interesting data. They found that 80% of the users of the Levels Health program have experienced improvements in one or more of the following 3 markers: their A1C, their resting insulin, and their triglycerides. And interestingly enough, on the triglycerides, 84% of their users experienced a 30-point or more decrease in triglycerides. So anyhow, that's the Levels Health program. Enough of that. Link down in the description if you'd like to find out more. There's no discount unless you subscribe for a year, in which case then you get 2 months free, which, is pretty cool. Anyhow, I'm a big fan, but that's it. It's not a promo. Moving along. And for those of you who just skipped on to the next chapter, glad to have you back. Over the course of the last week, I've gotten a lot of comments from viewers asking about the flooding in southeast Wisconsin, which is where I live, and if I was affected at all. And the answer is no. Everything was just fine here at the Serious Keto household. When we built this house, whoa, boy, that was getting on towards, well, not quite 30 years ago. I think it was like 28 years ago, give or take. We were the first house in this subdivision. So as I was looking at lots and talking to the surveyor for the lots, there are some lots in this subdivision that are kind of, I don't know if they call them floodplain or what, but it was former swampland, and they tend to flood. Not this house. Although my sump pump was going pretty hard for about 3 straight days, but everything's good right around here. I do appreciate the concern though. Next, I want to talk about last week's podcast because I don't think there has been a day where I've gotten more awesome comments than I got last Monday. In fact, I didn't get any sort of negative comments all day long, and that is a genuine rarity. But in that video, I'd asked people, what food item do you eat or ingredient do you eat that generally goes with something else, but you just eat it straight up? The most common answers were peanut butter and cream cheese. Those were really common, and I totally get that. I used to make peanut butter and cream cheese sandwiches. It's a great combo. I love them. I love them together. I love them separate. Probably the third most common answer I got was brown butter bites. And I can't remember if I've got a recipe for that. But if not, I'm gonna have to look into that because that sounds pretty good. Probably the most unique or unusual answer that I got was from one viewer who just eats straight lard. I don't know that I could do that. But as I was going through the day looking at comments, and I kind of do that all day long, it felt a little bit like playing roulette and just leaving all your money, letting it ride. Like put it on red and let it ride, spin it again. Sooner or later, it's gonna fail. But it didn't in terms of comments. Just kept getting awesome comments. I mean, if I seem a little bit giddy right now, it was because it was truly, truly an awesome day for comments. And I want to see if we can continue that, so we're going to do another audience participation thing. I want to hear about 2 ingredients or food items that you combine together that probably seem odd to most people, but you think is awesome. Now for me, first we'll do as a child. As a child, I just loved peanut butter and ketchup sandwiches, especially if you grilled the peanut butter. So it's like a grilled cheese, but with peanut butter instead, and then ketchup. Ugh. It's crazy, but those two flavors just go together wonderfully. The other thing I really enjoy, and this is what I do often for a snack in the evening, is I'll just mix some peanut butter and some cottage cheese, just kind of spoon it together. It might be interesting to kind of really whip it together, hit it with an immersion blender or put it in the food processor, because the taste to me is almost like a peanut butter cheesecake. Especially if you put like a little bit of sweetener in it as well, but I don't always do that. Sometimes I just like it straight up peanut butter and cottage cheese. So now it's your turn. Let me know what food combination that may seem odd to a lot of people, but you love and you swear by. Let me know down in the comments below. So if it seems like I've got a little bit of a fat lip right here, it is because I have bit that lip, and I always bite right here. That's the same spot I always get myself on, probably 4 times over the course of 24 hours. It started at Connor's birthday celebration at the Brazilian Steakhouse, Texas de Brazil, not a promo. And to explain sort of how and why it happened, I kind of got to go through the whole dinner experience. So everybody enjoyed it. I probably enjoyed it the least. And I think I enjoyed it the least because I had to pay for it. When you're paying for 8 people to eat at a Brazilian steakhouse, plus beverages, plus dessert, it was the second most expensive dinner I have ever paid for in my life. And it didn't taste like the second best dinner I've ever had. So as people gave me comments or advice about going to the Brazilian steakhouse, I had half the people tell me, oh, the salad bar, you gotta hit the salad bar. The salad bar is wonderful. And then I had the other half say, avoid the salad bar, save all that stomach space for meat. Well, I hit the salad bar gently, but I kept it very keto. I think the closest thing to not keto that I had was some roasted jalapeno peppers. But it was mostly meat and cheese, and there was some shrimp, and it was good. It was really good. However, while I'm eating my plate from the salad bar, people are coming by about every 30 seconds with meat. And I just want to be left alone. Let me eat my salad. I tell you what, when you see the salad plate is empty, then come back with meat. So I'm kind of rushing through my salad because I want to get to the meat. And it seemed like once I finished my salad, that's when they quit coming around quite so often. Additionally, it seemed like every other server was coming by with something like sausage. I don't want to eat a smoked sausage. I want cow is what I want. Or they'd come by with some sort of chicken thing, like garlic chicken or Parmesan chicken or something like that. Now, I did take the advice of a couple of you who said you need to special request the beef short ribs. I requested those, and sadly, it was not awesome. I mean, these were the fattiest ribs I'd ever had, and I like fat, but it was just overwhelming. It was just, I felt greasy all over, inside and out, after eating them. And because people are coming so fast and so furiously with food, here's a new thing to eat, I was really rushing through eating and chewing with a great deal of gusto, and that's when I hit the lip twice. Anyhow, the family all enjoyed it. I think I was the only one that came away with some post-purchase dissonance from it all. I don't know when I'll go again. I'd gone to a Brazilian steakhouse with Chris and Miriam Bear in Utah when I visited for a Keto Chow meetup, and that was so much better than Texas de Brazil. I'm sure Chris will probably chime in, leave a comment down below, and let me know the name of that one, but that one was really good. In fact, that salad bar put Texas de Brazil to shame. That was just, it was amazing. But anyhow, that was the experience. Everybody liked it. That's the important thing. And now we'll move on. The final topic has to do with this week's shooting schedule. It's going to be a little bit weird. First off, I had planned on doing 2 different pancake mixes, keto, supposedly, pancake mixes this week, along with glucose testing. But after last week and doing 3 different syrups and basically dedicating 5 days to glucose testing, where I really kind of got to basically conform my entire schedule around glucose testing, I didn't want to do that again this week. I wanted to do one product. So we're doing the King Arthur pancake mix this week. I will do Scotty's next week and then compare the 2. I'll use the Levels Health app and kind of overlay the 2 on top of each other so you can see the glucose movement. Now, what threw a little bit of a wrench into all of this is the King Arthur baking mix has 2 different preparation methods. So one is just add water, and then the other is a little more in depth. Well, not a whole lot. You add some water, you add some oil. I used avocado oil, and you add a couple of eggs. And I wanted to make sure that I was testing both of those. And that just kind of increases the amount of time that it takes me to put together a review. So that's going to be this week, Scotty's next week. Additionally, Friday will not be a cooking video. I can't tell you why, but I'll give you a hint. Usually when I don't do a video on its regular scheduled day and time, that means that there's some sort of an announcement coming up. Maybe it's a sale, maybe it's a new product. So that's what's going on Friday. But speaking of recipes, so I guess that last topic isn't the final topic, but this one will be. And that topic is recipe generation or recipe perfection, and then dialing it back, because that's really kind of my system. I get an idea for a recipe or inspiration for a recipe from another source, and then I make my version. And I will keep making it until I get it perfect. But usually by the time, well, maybe not perfect, but up to my standards, usually by that time, I've made it too complicated. So I need to figure out how to dial it back. Can I get it 95% of the way with half the work? And that's what's been going on with those chicken fries that I did a few weeks ago. I've come up with a couple of methods that are pretty fantastic, and I've got one in my brain that I think is going to be even better, but more complicated. And it reminded me of a TV show. It was on the BBC. I think it was called In Search of Perfection with Heston Blumenthal. So Heston Blumenthal, I love this guy. He is the chef, proprietor, and owner at the Fat Duck. It's a restaurant in the UK. It has 3 Michelin stars and has maintained that rating for 21 years. I would love to go there someday. Anyhow, if you have a chance to watch any of the videos from that show, In Search of Perfection, I think he may have done a sequel to it as well. You will see just the amount of detail and time that goes into some of his recipes, like making French fries. How can you make the best French fry ever? I think it takes about 3 days, which is way more work than I think most people want to do, but it's very interesting to see the process. Now, that's kind of what I wind up doing on some of my recipes, but then I dial it back before I bust out the camera. So that is going to be a video coming up soon, probably looking some point in September. But that is going to be it for this particular video. As always, I just want you to know how very much I appreciate all of you and the time we get to spend together, the interactions that we have in the comments. You're awesome, and I mean that sincerely. So thanks for taking the time to listen to me talk, and thanks for watching.